Okay, salutations. I'm going to present a poem that is addressed to the planet that we just so happen to reside on. Okay. A letter from the homeless to the home. Dear Emerald Sapphire Sphere, I do not think I can call you home. The right to do so has become ransacked from me, ripped from my undeserving paws. Now, a rustic riffraff of roaming rules that people dare not deem laws. No, I don't think I can call you home. Not your noble mountains that sit like grand messengers in their terrestrial thrones between the ethereal dimension above and the crumbled sands beneath, awaiting a message to deliver and thinking, with every sheet of snow stealthily disappearing right under the crescent moon sliver, that some meddlesome soul intercepted the letter. But what of your towering trees, oh so loyal, unwavering accomplices of the intoxicated soils? Often labeled as hollows, but so fraught to the brim, with wisdom boundless and sorrows suppressed. And come autumn, they must part with the lush labyrinth of leaves that accompanied them in the swift spring breezes and stimulating summer sun rays. Each green-veined companion a distinct memory aglow. Now, obscure orange, rusty red, and yawning yellow, embracing death with a crunchy handshake and lamenting that the magnanimous tree, in all its willowy corduroy glory, will have to face the most glacial of nights and the most frosty of days, with no leaf-like blanket. But as winter halts in the relay race to let spring have its turn, something changes in the trees. The trunks get softer as they are ground into grist. The branches get toastier as they are cooked in a chemical solution. The bark gets brighter as it is bleached without relent, until all that's left for the leaves to greet as they return from their wintry odyssey is a sedated stump with a stolen memory. And your less malignant members, your more rewarding residents, are crimeless counterparts, the animals, like children who never grow up, entire populations of Peter Pans, the summit of innocence. Like monumental lighthouses with technicians as useless as a plethora of neglecting spouses who slumber through every fuse of every blown-out bulb, with only the midnight currents of humanity's interferences to brush up against their lurid, lightless selves and stain the sound stability they now struggle to sustain. The relationship between man and animal severed substantially, abused to the brink of barely any returns as they have fallen under the morbid trance of the given-up oppressee. And yet, still stands the courageous lighthouse in its courageous stance. And in perpetual motion, the earthly nebulas, the sky phantoms, your clouds, so generous in their dihydrogen monoxide, and yet so abandoned by the perky misgratitude who frolics off elsewhere to thank the blubbery men in bulging business suits for their crusty crates of bottled water. At which point, the deserted envelopes of the sky, the somber stratuses, the cumbersome cumuluses, and even the numb nimbuses will silently float away to another dry land full of dry people. The cousins of mountains, with glossy grasses and rumpus rolls, your hills, so eccentric and kooky in character, only to have their unique panorama of personas stripped away. Leveling, they call it, but it's more like a nasty trip to the quagmire of game over for the wandering hills, and start now for the monotonous gray assembly of ominous office buildings full of ominous office people to go about their ominous office work. The aquatic palaces, the spritzy indigo waters sprinkled with salty seasoning, your oceans, So fierce and unpredictable, those whimsical, witty waves, bidding farewell to the shore only to greet it momentarily once more. An infinite cycle of rejoicement. Poisoned, infiltrated by the toxins of mankind's avarice, and now, instead of frivolous fun, the waves wash up to inform the shore of yet another species lost in the black hole of extinct enigmas, leaving the wistful waters to fend for the small remainder of sea critters in the orphanages of the ocean, the deep sea vents, where the earthling's mark is far less catastrophic, for now at least. Your Arctic poles, like twin twinkles of the same bubble, with the glittering icescapes that seem to stretch for light years, and the majestic icebergs with hidden layers unforeseeable, all melting, just like the mountain crests, and torturing themselves by imagining the future when the regal penguins will have no frozen kingdom, and the polar bears no frigid dens. Sentenced with no trial, sheerly doomed and deviled. When the polar protective shells vanish and the most invasive of all creatures will invade the blooming land they so gingerly preserved. The last shred of purity on a plagued planet, turmoiled by the unconsciously turmoiling. Even the stars are disappearing from your canvas, as if they knew what fate was destined for the dwellers of this land and didn't wish to stick around to witness it. Or perhaps as if the artist, arrogantly thinking that there are plenty of city lights to light up every corner of the Milky Way, erases the stars from the masterpiece with every stroke of tar-infused paint, by every brush dusted in gray. Your atmosphere is getting angry. The stovetop of this planet is set to a boil, steadily increasing with each flying day while the ice cube holders and stove switch operators lie dormant, transfixed in their routinely hypnosis of melting the ice cubes and pretending there is no switch. No, I don't think I can call any of it home. Not the fading mountaintops, not the tormented animals, not the slaughtered trees, not the downcast clouds, not the obliterated hills, not the contaminated oceans, not the evanescing ice caps, not the flaring atmosphere, nor even the fugitive stars. No, I cannot. But I wish, ever so genuinely, that I could. Oh, beloved Earth, you have fulfilled your side of the bargain exquisitely, only to be cheated on, deceived most despicably, by the sole species that have managed to completely sabotage your beauty, while the power to repair, hovering within reach, is given a grody glare. And yet, still you spin. Still, you allow us to use what grains remain of your reticent resources, and still we remain in the spellbinding mindset that the riches will always be here to drain and that you will always be here to strain. Oh, Earth, when I turned off the music, the phone, the TV, when I turned off all the distractive clatter, I could hear you wail in agony. Now, what right do I possess to call you home? And I can imagine our children, the earthlings of the future, visiting the cemetery to put bouquets of fake flowers on our graves, only to see their own designated deathly abodes, dug up and ready for a premature corpse, with the words, "I'm sorry," carelessly scrawled on the stones, and undoubtedly written in our very handwriting.